In today's episode, the rare Land Rover Freelander Commercial. Hello, welcome to Quarterlights, the channel here on YouTube that brings you car brochures from around the world for the 60s, 70s, 80s and 90s and sometimes beyond. So if you're interested in car brochures, cars in general, bringing back some of those memories, then please do consider subscribing to this very niche channel. Anyway, in today's episode, the Land Rover Freelander Commercial. Now I was looking through the collection, wondering what I was going to do today, and then I came across this one. I was going to do the Freelander, but then I found the Freelander Commercial. Certainly must be an extremely rare car today. I wonder if there's any of them left, even though this particular brochure is only in 1999, just in that sort of segment of the 60s, 70s, 80s and 90s, I guess. So yes, a 1999 brochure for the commercial Freelander. I'm trying to think if I ever actually saw one back in the day, maybe at the dealership. Obviously you can imagine them carrying the parts around for the Land Rover spare parts department or accessories. I can imagine that, but I wonder who actually bought a Freelander Commercial. Bit of an unusual choice because obviously you're paying more for the sort of off-roady looks of the Freelander, but you're not really getting much space. So in terms of a business, did they really make any sense whatsoever? Anyway, I'll just zoom in a bit further. I've always liked the looks of the Freelander, I must admit. It looked a very well designed car, and when it came out it was a huge seller, of course. I'm talking about this original version, and I did actually drive quite a few of them. I think the ones I drove always turned out to be the petrol engine versions. I always must admit they were very thirsty for the size of the car, which is another reason I think this commercial one is a bit of a weird one. Really what you're getting is a three-door Freelander with no windows in the back, I guess is what you're getting, which obviously means it's going to be a lower priced version. I don't know if anyone privately would buy this just as a two-seater, you can throw stuff in the back, I don't know, but like I say, for a commercial or a business use vehicle, did they really make any sense at all? Looks like you could spec them quite highly though. That's a very unusual sunroof. It looks like a two separate opening sunroof, which is certainly unusual. And this was all part of a Land Rover SV or Land Rover Special Vehicles. If you got anything different than norm, it was classed as the Special Vehicles department. You just about make out the Land Rover Special Vehicles badge there. And then finally, you get a few little tiny images of the commercial on the front cover, but actually, let's open the brochure up. Now, one thing that certainly is unusual about this Freelander commercial vehicle brochure is commercial vehicles usually only got a tiny brochure, maybe front cover, these 2 pages and then a back cover, but this is an actual proper brochure just for the commercial vehicle, which is unusual. On this page it says introducing Freelander Commercial from Land Rover Special Vehicles, and on the opposite side says Freelander Commercial, a hero for all reasons. Let's just have a look, see how it describes it. So it tells us the new Freelander Commercial from Land Rover Special Vehicles redefines versatility. It is a hard-working four-wheel drive utility vehicle that also serves as smart, comfortable, personal transportation. It then goes on to say, does that sound implausible? And they put this sort of trendy words over words, which makes it very hard to read. It says, explore the particulars. The Freelander Commercial has a considerable cargo compartment, easy, accessible and devised with the trade user in mind. The materials are durable, the design practical. The Freelander Commercial also has a passenger compartment with amenities you might expect to find in an executive saloon rather than a work vehicle. Of course, Above all, the Freelander Commercial is a Land Rover and carries all the attributes and distinctions that the name implies. The solid, unitised chassis and permanent four-wheel drive system assure the uneventful navigation of difficult terrain. At the same time, the four-wheel independent suspension is capable of delivering a comfortable, refined ride. The new Freelander Commercial from Land Rover Special Vehicles has a combination of attributes that make it unique among the many vehicles on the market today. Nothing else can offer the same distinctiveness, utility, comfort and convenience. Then we get a few little images, one in white of course, on the docks. A front end view, and notice the number plate. I presume SV is for special vehicles, but what I was going to say is notice how later brochures stopped putting an age related plate on there so they didn't have to keep doctoring it all the time. And then another little image showing the rear end. And then when we turn the page, we do get a few more images of this car, but I think what's noticeable is how much text. You would think, how much can you talk about a commercial vehicle? It says everything you expect from a car. Let's see what it does actually say. Though you may travel with cargo, you don't have to travel economy. From the seats forward, the Freelander Commercial is outfitted with everything you would expect to find in a well-equipped executive saloon. Attention to passenger comfort doesn't stop with amenities, though. The Freelander Commercial also has full independent suspension with McPherson struts for a smooth, controlled ride and responsive handling. As you survey your surroundings from the Freelander Commercial's multi-adjustable seats, you'll find numerous conveniences that you might not expect in a commercial vehicle. The window lifts are electrically operated. The steering column height is adjustable. There is overhead sunglass holders between the Targa roof panels. The doors have a central locking mechanism that can be remotely operated. The atmosphere can be precisely controlled with the optional air conditioner. The Freelander Commercial's commanding driving position features upright supportive seats and extensive front and side glass to help the driver see well down the road. In addition to diagonal side intrusion beams and an integral safety cage, there is a standard driver's side airbag. The passenger side airbag and anti-lock brakes are optional. Further evidence of the Freelander Commercial's car-like nature is its available power plants. The spirited 1.8 litre petrol engine and the economical 2 litre turbo diesel engine ensure that regardless of what you have on board, you'll be able to accelerate at a normal rate. Driving down winding country lanes or the motorway, you may need to remind yourself that you're in a commercial vehicle. Images are, don't adjust your sets, that is a blurry image of a car in motion. Here is a picture and a bit of an attempt to look at the engine compartment, but obviously it's all plastic covers. And the interior, which I always quite like the interior on these Freelanders. And there it is from the rear. So yeah, an unusual car, or unusual commercial vehicle I should say, very well equipped. So it wasn't bargain basement territory. You'd think it made more sense just to have wind down windows, make it as cheap as possible, and then maybe some private customers may have bought this. You could argue maybe a farmer would have bought something like this, but then I kind of think a farmer would probably want a Defender, or if he wanted something a bit more capable on the motorways, maybe a Discovery. So yeah, an unusual model. So we turn the page, more nice images. Top here it's telling us everything you expect from a utility. So let's see how it describes or continues describing this unusual vehicle. It tells us the versatile Freelander Commercial is capable of performing many roles. When it comes to the tough jobs commercial users expect of their vehicles, the Freelander Commercial is ideally fit for purpose. The rear door swings away easily, opening up the entire 49 cubic foot cargo space for unobstructed loading and unloading. The rear compartment is finished with a heavy duty 12mm thick marine grade floor that is further fortified with a durable phenolitic cover. In addition, a cover matte thick rubber with a skin resistant checker plate finish. What unusual words they're using. Blankets the entire floor. You can quickly load the most abrasive items without guilt or concern. Further enhancements for the rear compartment are lashing points both on the body sides and on the floor. A mesh 3/4 height bulkhead prevents articles in the rear from sliding forward into the passenger compartment. Convenience and utility team together again when it comes to the rear drop glass, which is electrically powered and can be remotely operated, making it possible to access the rear compartment even when a trailer is hooked up. Towing is a Land Rover strength, and the Freelander Commercial only reinforces that reputation. With the Freelander Commercial, tow confidently both on and off-road, knowing that you can pull up to 2,000 kilogram trailer. This is all simply a beginning point though. Land Rover Special Vehicles can meet your specialist needs with numerous options and accessories to ensure the Freelander Commercial gets your job done, no matter what it is, no matter where it leads you. So like the other Land Rovers, lots of accessories to purchase as well. Land Rover noticed they could make a lot of money from that. So tiny images with the return of this white example. This looks like one of those that's really kitted out with all the accessories. Looks like we've got a bit of a mesh on that back door and some kind of like device that we can roll forward, unusually. And this one has also got sort of like a mesh bulkhead. And then from the rear, looks like this has been used by someone who goes diving, I guess. Also showing us with the electric rear window lowered. Turn the page, it says everything you expect from a Land Rover. So more images. Looks like this example's got alloy wheels. So I guess when you put the alloy wheels on, it doesn't really look like a commercial vehicle anymore. Anyway, let's have a look at the text. Land Rover has been known for building highly capable four-wheel drive vehicles with rugged off-road durability and sound on-road drivability. The Freelander is no different. It is now firmly established as a solid member of a family of vehicles that are trusted around the world when there are no roads and no choice other than to go forward. At the heart of the Freelander Commercial's off-road ability is its permanent four-wheel drive system with viscous coupling and intermediate reduction drive. The sophisticated system treats all four wheels individually and automatically applies the appropriate amount of traction in any given situation. It is hard to imagine a professional situation in which the Freelander Commercial wouldn't be a useful tool. You can confidently get around town in any weather, fill the back with whatever you choose, and drive away without a second thought about mud, snow, or slippery stone. The same is true for out-of-the-way places. Emergency crews will come to rely on their Freelander Commercial as a lifesaver when situations arise at the worst possible times in the worst possible places. Of course, there is a degree of off-road challenges, some significantly more than others. The Freelander Commercial can be equipped to meet even the most difficult topography. From the options list, choose the electronic traction control, ETC system. So it talks about safety and how you don't have to worry about snow, ice, etc. Which is fine going forward, but if you don't have any sort of traction control or ABS, more importantly, then there's always the stopping, and obviously a four-wheel drive vehicle doesn't make any difference when it comes to stopping, which includes all-terrain anti-lock brakes and hill descent control. And you'll find your Freelander Commercial capable of climbing and descending terrain that would make a billy goat stop cold. with its ability to cover any ground, carry cargo and still provide its occupants with a comfortable driving environment. The distinctive Freelander Commercial is a vehicle like no other. Again, we get a few images. Here are your standard steel wheels. A strange angle to look at the inside or the cargo area. And then this version fitted with those optional alloys. But there is a larger image of that. I think it's quite unusual that they don't have any sort of like rubber strips or rubbing strips going down the side there actually, because there's plenty of other sorts of rubbing strips around it. Just zooming in a little bit further at the rear there. Well, it looks like someone's throwing rocks in there. Of course, throw rocks in your Freelander Commercial. This must be at some kind of like quarry type situation, but an unusual use for this little car. So that then takes us to the specification page. So two engine choices, a 1.8i K-series petrol engine, 1796cc, transversely mounted inline 4-cylinder, 16 valves DRHC, 120 PS at 5500 RPM, 165 Nm at 2750 RPM. And then there's probably the model you actually wanted, the 2-litre DI L-series turbo diesel, 1994cc, transversely mounted inline 4-cylinder, 8 valves SRHC, 97 PS at 4200 RPM, 210 Nm at 2000 RPM. So the diesel was the one you wanted really. I know when I had a Discovery a long time ago, I used to take it in for service at the main dealer. They always used to provide me with not a commercial, but just a normal Freelander. They always came with that 1.8 K-series petrol engine, which was fine, but I was always thankful to get back to the Discovery diesel because the fuel economy was far worse on this little vehicle than on the diesel Discovery. Anyway, moving on. Whatever engine you chose, you got a 5-speed manual transmission and permanent 4-wheel drive with viscous coupling. Suspension front, independent McPherson strut, lower arms, coil springs, anti-roll bar. At the rear, independent McPherson strut, trapezoidal link, coil springs, brakes, discs at the front, drums at the rear. Steering is rack and pinion, power assisted, turns lock to unlock, 3.16, turning circle, 11.6 metres. Performance, 0 to 60 time for the petrol, 11.1 seconds, 14.6 seconds for the diesel. That takes us to fuel economy. So combined for the petrol, 27.6 mpg. Combined for the turbo diesel, 36.6 mpg. Also shows the dimensions. I'm not going to go through all those figures, but there it is on camera. We'll move down. Those are the load space dimensions and the weights and towing capacities. It then shows the special commercial features, so a 12mm marine ply wooden floor with phenolic covering, 3/4 height mesh bulkhead, 4 integral side lashing points, 6 integral floor lashing points, modified hard top with blanked out side windows, blanked out rear quarter window, cubber cargo mats, new moulded load space side panels. Safety and security features: permanent 4-wheel drive with viscous coupling, driver's airbag SRS, seatbelt pre-tensioners, integral rollover cage, diagonal side intrusion bars, centre high mount stop lamp, remote central locking with single point entry, volumetric and perimetric alarm, robust passive engine immobiliser, radio frequency remote control with rolling cord, high security door locks, tailgate mounted spare wheel, locking boot floor storage box, dent resistant polymer front wings and headlamp lenses. Comfort and convenience: you get power steering, height adjustable steering column, electric rear door drop glass, heated rear window and rear washer wiper, twin removable Targa roof panels, opaque polymer, electric front windows, twin electric heated door mirrors, standard or your 15-inch styled steel wheels, all-terrain tyres, 4-speaker, radio cassette with security code and removable keypad, luggage retention anchorage points, rear accessory power socket, twin front glove boxes, headliner mounted sunglass holder, tinted optical glass, digital clock, twin cargo compartment bins, and options to get: 4-channel ABS, electric traction control, hill descent control, twin airbags, twin removable Targa roof panels, glass, air conditioning, 15-inch alloy wheels with locking nuts, 16-inch alloy wheels with locking nuts and 205 tyres, metallic or micrometallic paint, 6-speaker RDS radio cassette with security code and remote display, CD auto changer, rear door storage net, or stowage net I should say. And then on top of that there are special options for the commercial version, so a basket type roof rack, checker plate floor, checker plate rear door plates, heavy duty bulkhead, rear door security mesh, a shelving unit, sliding floor, which we saw, sliding racking system, jump start socket, hand wash unit, rotating beacon red, rotating beacon amber, rotating beacon blue. So maybe some went to emergency services. Light bar, rotation mirror and sign, light bar, rotator, alley, takedown and sign, blue halogen repeaters front, blue strobe repeaters front, flag mask, map lights, interior strip lights, siren system, Yelp whale. So like I say, it doesn't seem that it is keyed up to be used as some kind of emergency response vehicle as was. Well, I guess for the more remote areas it could make sense. Yeah, that is interesting. You could also get a siren system, Yelp whale plus PA, run flat tyres, ground anchor, xenon amber beacon and a work light. And then it finishes on this Land Rover Commercial customization. I'm not going to read the full text, really it's just going back through what we've already looked at in the description there for the various different options and commercial only options as well. Here we can see the alloy wheels, look at the interior and look at that unusual Targa sunroof where you can just pop one off. And here are some of the examples of some of those commercial only features, like that check-up plate floor, that basket roof rack, rear door security mesh, and an example of that rolling out racking system. And there are the couple of vehicles we've been following in the brochure then. So that red example with the alloy wheels and the white one with the standard steel. Just going to move the camera around here. That looks like a non-commercial but certainly a Freelander 5-door being used as a police vehicle. A very impressive 6-wheel drive recovery vehicle. And then a couple of 110s. One looks like it's an ambulance. One is a 4-door pickup. A very high spec Range Rover. And then various other vehicles, like we've got a crane and various police style vehicles, the UN there as well, showing you how the Range Rover is used across the world. We'll just finish with the UK address at the time and the Land Rover Specialist Vehicles website at the time, and also to show you this is a 1999 Rover Group Limited, by this time a BMW company, and the publication number. But there we go, an unusual brochure for quite an unusual vehicle. You didn't see many at the time. I wonder if there are still any on the road, but certainly a little bit different, the commercial vehicle of the Freelander, really not giving you that much space inside, but permanent 4-wheel drive on a commercial vehicle I think was the idea, but I'm sure there were better commercial vehicles to get. But thank you so much for watching today. We'll end as we always do by saying Please do consider subscribing. It is all completely free. You'll never be charged to be a subscriber. It really does help the channel grow, helps you find the episodes you want to see. There are over 800 episodes here on Quartzlight now, so I'm sure there's cars that you're interested in. I'll throw a couple of examples of some of our brochures up here if you want to continue viewing. But thank you so much for watching today for the Land Rover Special Vehicles Freelander Commercial. Please take care, all the best, and goodbye.